The courage to question. So shout out to Courtney in San Antonio. Courtney was actually the first person to book me for a house show. So you guys should all follow Courtney's lead and book me for a house show. I'm going to be posting something about that because I'm starting to work on some 2019 house show dates. But Courtney was the first person to take a gamble on the house show. I did a house show in San Antonio, and we had a frickin' blast. And here's a protest she was a part of, and she wanted me to shout it out on the show, and I like it, so I'm going to shout it out on the show. Anti-war veterans group About Face calls Whit Museum to account over George W. Bush exhibit. So here's something from the op-ed here that was written by Marisol Cortez. As the Bush years fade from memory and we find ourselves in the shadow of the Trump administration's virulent white nationalism, it's easy to feel almost nostalgic for a Republican like George W. Bush. Dumb, rich, and led by the nose of nefarious neocons into murderous foreign policy, to be sure. At least not an explicit Nazi sympathizer or unrepentant pussy grabber. The sympathetic revisiting of the Bush years has only deepened as he's made post-presidential forays into the fine arts, right? He takes selfies with Ellen now. He's just a nice, harmless war criminal. That's what George W. Bush is now. And he has a nice paint-by-numbers career, as they're mentioning here. So, but fortunately, in San Antonio, where there's now a Bush exhibit at the Whit Museum, some people don't suffer from amnesia, and they remember that George W. Bush is, in fact, a war criminal. And we talk about that on this show a lot, how it's easy for people to have amnesia when you do have somebody as outwardly despicable as Donald Trump. However, Donald Trump hasn't started any illegal wars yet. And this idea that everything was hunky-dory and then Trump got here is just a falsity. And if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So how do we stop Bush amnesia? Because I think it's important. And shout out to all the activists in San Antonio that did this to remind people. I mean, if we keep going down this amnesia nostalgic path where if somebody talks polite, that's all it takes. In 20 years, we're going to be saying, or not we, but you know what I mean. In 20 years, the country's going to be saying, man, we yearn for the days of Donald Trump. He was kind of a douche, but not a total douche like our new president, Nazi McFuckface. That guy's a true asshole. That guy's an open Nazi, as opposed to one that was just a sympathizer. That's what we get if we keep going down this path. That's what we get. In 20 years, we'll be yearning for the days of the polite talking Donald Trump. And that's hard to imagine, isn't it? What are you guys saying? Extinction Ritual. Pay no attention to the thousands of dead people. Garden Gnome. I agree the softening of Bush's image is disgusting. George W. Bush is the most embarrassing artist since John McNaughton. I'm not sure who that is, but he is an embarrassing artist, so I'll go with you there. Let's see here. Too right. Also, Bush destroyed the Fourth Amendment. Yeah, that's something we love to forget about. A lot of the issues we're facing now is still from the groundwork laid by George W. Bush. The Patriot Act, the Clean Air and Water Act, or whatever that act was that Dick Cheney was behind that wasn't about clean air at all. The Iraq War, the, quote, War on Terror, which gave us preemptive authority. Yeah, we are still healing, and we're not even healing because we're not learning from it, but we are still feeling the effects of the Bush administration. And Obama continued a lot of that. That's, you know, I mean, he made the tax cuts permanent. He expanded the wars in time. You know, I mean, we're still suffering. I mean, George W. Bush was the most destructive president of my lifetime, by far. And we're still feeling it. And we're still feeling a little bit from Clinton and Bush the First, and Obama too, even. But GW really set this country on fire. And Cupstairs points out, people think it's all cute that he passed Michelle Obama some candy. That's right, he passed Michelle Obama some butterscotch candy. And you know what I say? If George W. Bush offered me some butterscotch candy, I would accept it, but then I'd offer him a pretzel. Throwback! Get your news on with with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news